to a 40-day extension earlier. I did that video right before midnight. They came to that agreement. And I put that video out earlier that they extended into January. But we now know what the WNBA has decided to offer. The WNBA's latest proposal to the Women's National Basketball Association includes a maximum salary in 2026 featuring a guaranteed $1 million base. Sources told
a recent report from Alexa Philippiou has revealed the first concrete figures regarding the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement discussions. These details emerged approximately 35 minutes before the analysis, marking the initial instance of confirmed financial terms being made public. The significance of these numbers suggests negotiations may be approaching their conclusion, as the proposed terms appear too substantial to dismiss outright. While the union isn't obligated to accept these terms, the gap between both parties seems to be narrowing considerably, potentially reaching around 85% agreement. Recent weeks have seen extensive discussions and negotiations between both sides as deadlines approached. The league's newest proposal includes significant changes from previous offers.
$1 million base. Sources told ESPN on Monday, with projected revenue sharing pushing totals for earnings on max players to more than $1.2 million. So, we know they were offering on a max deal $800,000 to $850,000. So one way or another, that's increased between $150,000 and $200,000 in their offer. And the max
according to sources, maximum earning athletes would receive a guaranteed foundation salary of $1 million. When factoring in anticipated revenue sharing arrangements, total compensation for top-tier athletes could surpass $1.2 million. The league-wide median compensation under this framework would reportedly exceed $500,000 annually. Entry-level salaries would climb above $225,000, representing a substantial increase from current standards. The team's spending limit would rise to $5 million per season, with provisions tying future increases directly to annual revenue expansion. For context, the 2025 spending limit currently sits around $1.5 million, highlighting the dramatic shift being proposed.
$200,000 in their offer. And the max contract was, with all the incentives, 1.1. Now it's 1.2. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, those bonuses, incentives, they're damn near impossible to hit. It's pretty common in leagues for there to be incentives, but we're talking about, in order to get like 1.2 million, you'd have to like win the title, be the MVP of the title series, be the MVP of the league.
The guaranteed $1 million figure represents confirmed compensation, though calculating the spending limit raises questions about the mathematics involved. With 12 roster spots and an average of $500,000 per athlete, basic multiplication suggests $6 million in total commitments. The discrepancy likely stems from the $500,000 figure, including revenue sharing components, while the base guaranteed amount might be closer to $400,000. Even this lower baseline would represent double the previous agreement's maximum compensation, positioning the league favorably within the global landscape of professional women's athletics. Maintaining perspective on these figures requires understanding how other leagues structure their compensation. While headline contracts in emerging leagues may appear competitive, those organizations typically feature limited rosters where approximately 30 athletes earn modest salaries around $70,000 annually.
League and be all-star. You'd have to check like 1 million boxes to get up to 1.2 million. But $1 million base is a significant increase. Under the proposal, sources told ESPN the average player's salary in 2026 would be projected to exceed $500,000, and the minimum player salary would be projected to exceed $225,000.
This pattern appears across various international leagues, including those backed by substantial financial resources. Even well-funded golf ventures with enormous prize pools concentrate their wealth among star performers, leaving remaining participants with moderate earnings. The WNBA's structure would likely deliver higher average compensation across a roster roughly 4 to 5 times larger than comparable leagues. These proposed numbers suggest both sides are approaching common ground, though questions remain about the precise revenue-sharing calculations that push total compensation toward $1.2 million. Perhaps this represents the guaranteed threshold that must be reached. The gap in baseline salaries might be as narrow as $200,000, and even those advocating for higher athlete compensation must acknowledge certain realities.
$225,000. The salary cap would increase to $5 million in 2026, according to sources, be tied directly to revenue growth in each year of the deal. Interesting. That makes me think this could be something that gets closer to being done. It is unclear what the players think of the proposal, but an agreement does not appear imminent. As of late Sunday night, both sides.
Many current athletes face uncertain professional futures, and discussions often overstate international earnings potential. Most athletes competing overseas earn between $40,000 and $50,000, with accommodations and expenses included. Only elite performers with existing wealth accumulate substantially higher international compensation. For typical roster members, international contracts might generate $40,000 to $50,000 combined with $80,000 from domestic play, totaling approximately $150,000 annually when both seasons combine. More than half the league currently earns under $200,000 through all revenue streams combined.
Night, both sides agreed to an extension of the current CBA through January 9, 2026. The union proposed nearly 6-week extension, and the league agreed to it after initially asking for a 21-day one. The new numbers reflect incremental increases from the league's last proposal that was reported by the AP and confirmed by ESPN on November 18th. So just in a matter of 12 days, they've increased.
The opportunity to elevate median earners from $200,000 to $500,000 annually represents doubling or tripling their income. While star performers certainly merit higher compensation than the proposed $1 million, the situation creates tension between maximizing elite salaries versus improving conditions for the broader player pool. Allowing a handful of top earners to secure additional hundreds of thousands could potentially cost 100 athletes approximately $300,000 each in foregone salary increases. The timing creates additional complexity since certain star athletes won't immediately benefit from any new agreement due to existing contractual obligations. One prominent player will earn roughly $90,000 next season regardless of collective bargaining outcomes as existing contracts remain binding.
18th. So just in a matter of 12 days, they've increased this offer. More than $1.1 million in total compensation was the previous offer for players in the max, an average compensation of more than $460,000 and a minimum earning $220,000. So they've raised the average another $40,000 since the last proposal, raised the minimum another $5,000, and now the Supermax. And
no agreement can alter these predetermined figures. Every professional sports league with spending limits inevitably creates situations where some athletes receive above-market compensation while others.
Now the Supermax, instead of being 1.1 with all incentives, is a guaranteed $1 million base. That's better. I mean, you're talking about, like I said, a $150,000 to $200,000 increase over their last offer, and if just by going by current salary standards right now, it's 4 times the amount of money. It's officially 4 times the amount of money.
Despite claims about rising revenue and viewership, certain metrics tell a more complex story. Championship Series ratings and All-Star Game viewership haven't maintained consistent growth. Patterns suggest broadcast numbers correlate strongly with specific star player appearances and particular markets that consistently draw capacity crowds. While overall figures show improvement, sustainability questions persist within ownership discussions. Some stakeholders question whether recent growth represents lasting expansion or temporary enthusiasm dependent on individual stars.
Oriented female athletes. Number 2 is Sabrina Ionescu. But as you can imagine, Caitlin Clark was first. Now, the difference in this is added up between salaries, or in tennis, for example, prize money, or golf, prize money, right? But in the WNBA, it would be salary, right? And it's pretty amazing because almost all of Caitlin Clark's money is from
determining whether current momentum reflects genuine league development or player-specific fascination requires more than 18 months of data collection and analysis. These uncertainties will continue influencing negotiation positions as both parties work toward finalizing terms. Recent developments have emerged regarding the Women's National Basketball Association's latest contract proposal. The league has presented a significantly enhanced compensation package that addresses several key salary components, representing a substantial shift from previous offers. The newest proposal features a top-tier contract for 2026 with a secured $1 million baseline payment, according to reports from ESPN.
Because almost all of Caitlin Clark's money is from endorsements because she's not making hardly anything as a WNBA player. So this is Sportico that put the list together. Money is pouring into women's sports, with athletes in basketball, hockey, soccer, softball, and volleyball reaping the rewards. But the top tier of the world's highest paid female athletes is dominated by tennis, and it has been for decades. The 15 top female athletes.
When factoring in projected revenue distribution mechanisms, elite players could potentially earn over $1.2 million. This represents a notable jump from earlier discussions, which centered around figures between $800,000 and $850,000. The enhancement amounts to roughly $150,000 to $200,000 beyond what was previously on the table. While the earlier framework included incentives reaching $1.1 million, the current structure pushes that ceiling to $1.2 million. However, achieving those bonus payments remains challenging.
Athletes in 2025 include 10 tennis players, up from 9 last year, a pair of golfers, female golfing pays some money, and 1 each from basketball, gymnastics, and skiing. Caitlin Clark, Simone Biles, Elaine Gu. I believe she is the Chinese American that actually competes for China if I'm in the Olympics.
These performance-based additions typically require meeting multiple demanding criteria simultaneously, such as securing a championship victory, earning MVP recognition for both the finals and regular season, and receiving all-star selections. Despite these difficult requirements, the guaranteed $1 million foundation marks meaningful progress. According to sources speaking with ESPN, the proposal project's typical player compensation in 2026 will surpass $500,000, while entry-level contracts are expected to exceed $225,000. The team spending limit would climb to $5 million beginning in 2026, with direct connections to revenue expansion built into subsequent years of the agreement. This structure suggests potential movement toward resolution.
Anyway, tennis star Coco Gauff leads the way with $31 million, a tick ahead of her rival Arina Sabalenka, $30 million. I have no idea who that is. If that tells you, I never even heard of them. Naomi Osaka, Serena Williams, and Gauff. So, wow. All right. So,
player reactions remain uncertain, and a finalized agreement doesn't appear immediate. Both parties recently agreed to prolong the existing collective bargaining agreement through the 9th of January 2026, following late-night discussions. The union requested this nearly 6-week postponement, which the league accepted after initially seeking just 21 days. These updated figures represent gradual improvements from the league's prior proposal, reported and verified by multiple outlets on November 18th. Within a 12-day span, the offer has been enhanced.
So, wow. All right. So, that brings us down here. The top 15 earned is an estimated $249 million this year from prize money, salaries, bonuses, and endorsements. It's up 12%. All 15 earned at least $10 million versus 11 last year and 6 in 2023. The 10.1 million cutoff to crack the list is up from 6.7 million last year. So
the previous framework included maximum total earnings of $1.1 million, typical compensation exceeding $460,000, and baseline earnings of $220,000. The revisions add another $40,000 to typical player salaries, increase minimum contracts by $5,000, and establish the top-tier package at a guaranteed $1 million base rather than $1.1 million dependent on incentives. This improvement is notable. Compared to earlier proposals, there's a $150,000 to $200,000 enhancement. When measured against existing salary structures, this represents approximately quadruple current compensation levels.
Last year, so it was almost a $4 million raise among all these athletes to break the minimum. So let's just go down here. Here's Caitlin Clark right there. And you see that $16 million. So she came in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th among all female athletes. 16 million. She's the only one on here from a team-oriented sport.
The multiplication applies uniformly across compensation tiers. Previously, the league's entry-level salary stood at $66,000. The premium contract was $250,000. The team spending ceiling was approximately $1.5 million. The existing framework includes annual fixed increases of 3%, along with separate revenue distribution arrangements that trigger direct payments when the league achieves specific financial benchmarks.
The only one on here from a team-oriented sport. Almost all of it is from endorsements, which is also the case for the skier, Aline Gu. And, most of these is from endorsements. Some of the tennis, Coco had 8 million. Sabalenka, 15 million. Simone Biles, 11 million, almost all from endorsements. 15 million. Simone Biles, 11 million, almost all from endorsements. It doesn't even show her making any money. She's an Olympian, so that makes sense, right? So right down here, golf made an estimated 23 million off the court on top of her 8 million. In April, she launched Coco Golf Enterprises in conjunction with talent firm WME to manage her career after 7 years aligned with Roger Federer's.
These processes could proceed rapidly once an agreement exists. Expansion, roster building, and the opening of unrestricted player movement could theoretically occur consecutively, even on the same day following expansion selections, assuming a contract framework is established. However, this remains contingent on reaching that agreement. The enhanced offer is substantial. Fan perspectives may shift regarding any potential standoffs.